Hello YouTube, my name is Ryo099 and today I'm going to be bringing you another one of my Yu-Gi-Oh deck profiles. This is my Rocket deck profile. I really like the Rockets. I think it is a really good fun casual deck to run. It's not a competitive style of the Rockets like the Dragon FTK or the Dragon Link, but still I really like this deck. So without further ado, let's get started. So first thing then, I'm running 3 copies of Rocket Tracer. This is the main tuner for this deck. Its effect is quick effect. You can target one face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon one rocket from your deck, except itself. The good thing about this is if you have another monster on the field, you can simply pop that card on your side, bring out another rocket, and then use itself to be able to synchro summon. So that's why I run 3 copies of Rocket Tracer. Next up then, I run 3 copies of Silver Rocket Dragon. I mainly use Silver Rocket Dragon for the synchro plays as well, because when it is destroyed either by battle or card effect, during the end phase of the turn you can special summon one rocket from your deck except itself. So if your opponent gets rid of it with a card or you get rid of it with your own card, during the end phase you can special summon another rocket and it builds up your defense or other combo plays for your next turn as well. So next up then, I only run 2 copies of Metal Rocket Dragon. Again, I use Metal Rocket as its card or battle destruction effect. I've been able to special run another rocket from my deck, so that's why I only run 2 copies of Metal Rocket. So next up on the list then, I run 3 copies of Magna Rocket Dragon. Again, it's a good little card. But its main effect I use, again, as the all rockets, is that destruction effect. It's all the main plays I do is I try and get rid of them as fast as possible with my own card effects, go into my links, my synchro plays, and just be able to overpower or stop my opponent from doing anything. So next up then, I only run 1 copy of this. It's Rocket Syncron. A few people will run more than one of them. I only do it because of another card I'm about to show you very soon. Is when this card is normal summoned, you can target one level 7 or higher, I believe. One level 5 or higher, sorry. Dark Dragon monster in your graveyard and special summon it. It negates its effects, but again, I only use it mainly for the synchro plays or link plays if I need to be able to do something. So next up then, I run 2 copies of Auto Rocket Dragon. Auto Rocket is one of those that, again, I mainly use for the destruction effect of special summoning. It's, again, same as the Metal Rocket Dragon. I only run 2 copies just because I mainly use it for that. So next up then, the non-rocket cards. I run 3 copies of Absoluta Dragon. I really like Absoluta because when you control a rocket monster, you can special summon it from your hand in any position you want, either defense or attack. I mainly play it in defense, with it having a 2800 body for its defensive. Not only that as well, but when this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 rocket monster from your deck to your hand. You can only activate its effect once per turn. Excuse me about that. So that's why I mainly just normal summon the rocket, special summon Absoluta, go into the link plays. Then because it's sent, you also get to add another rocket to your hand. So next up then, I also run 1 copy of Speed Burst Dragon. Speed Burst Dragon is the level 6 of this, 2400 attack, so it's pretty steady for its level. But when you take effect damage, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then inflict damage to your opponent equal to the damage you took. And if you do, you gain life points to half the damage you took. So what I really like with Speed Burst Dragon is when you take any sort of effect damage, except during the damage step, and have him in your hand, you can special summon him. You gain half your life points back of that. So for an example, if you take 3000 points of damage, you gain 1500 life points back, but your opponent also takes 3000 points of damage as well. So next then, just for the more defensive plays, I won 1 copy of Asfenic Rocket, I think that's how you say it. I mainly use this one because it's a good little defense play for 2200 level 1. So you just simply set it, but not only that as well, but it does have the same effect as the rockets, of when it's being destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon one during the end phase. So for the non-rocket types then, I run 1 copy of White Dragon Wyvern Burster, and 1 copy of Black Dragon Colossus Serpent, I think that's how you Colossus Serpent. The reason why I want 1 copy of these is because to bring out the white dragon Wyvern Burster, you need to banish a dark monster from your graveyard, and then when he leaves the field, you get to add the dark dragon, and then because you've added dark dragon, you simply banish the light dragon. So say for a link play, a synchro play, he goes to the grave, you get to add him to your hand, banish this card, resummon him. So it's really, really good for combo plays. Next up on the list then, we have 2 copies of Gateway Dragon. If your opponent controls a link monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon 1 Gateway Dragon per turn. But not only that as well, but once per turn, you can special summon a level 4 or lower dark monster from your hand. So if your opponent goes first and he fills up his board with a link monster, simply special summon Gateway Dragon, use Gateway Dragon's effect, summon out the Rocket Tracer, and then because you've got a level 4 and a level 4 with a tuner, you can go straight into your synchro plays as well. So that's why I run 2 copies of Gateway Dragon. So next up then, just the one of, I run 1 copy of White Rose Dragon. I only use White Rose Dragon because if I have Rocket Tracer on the field and no other cards, if you control a plant or dragon tuner, you can special summon this card from the hand. So summon your Rocket Tracer, special summon White Rose, again go straight into your synchro plays. I want 1 copy of Red Eyes Darkness Metal. This is not the new version, as a lot of people can see. But even so, it's the new version's effect you have to play as, because that's what it is. But I just run him because he's an easy summon, and you get to bring back a dragon, and this whole deck is dragons. So it's really, really helpful. Next up then, I'm still unsure about this card, but I've run him anyway. It's 1 copy of Chaos Emperor Dragon Envoy of the End. Now, as I was saying, because you're banishing your light monster to bring out your dark dragon collapser, but it's a bit hard to get the light because I only have 1 in this deck and 1 in the extra deck, if I'm not mistaken. So he's a good backup if you can have him in the graveyard and you need a good beater, or at 3000 attack he's really strong. But not only that as well, but as we all know, you pay 1000 life points, you pop cards in your opponent's hand or field, and both of yours, and then you do damage to him as well at 300 per card. So he's not too bad to have in the deck, but I don't really overly summon him that much. So that's it then for the monsters. For the spells, I run 3 copies of Bolord Regenerator. Bolord Regenerator is a monster reborn quick card for the rockets. Is you can activate this card by tagging 1 rocket monster in your graveyard, special summon it and equip it onto it, but banish it when it leaves the field, when this card leaves the field. If this card is sent to the graveyard because the card equipped monster was destroyed, which a lot of the spell cards do, you get to draw a card. So it's not only that, it's a monster reborn and a draw support as well for the deck. Next up then, I run 3 copies of Quick Launch. Quick Launch is simple as it's a quick play spell card, so you can activate it during your turn or set it and activate it during your opponent's turn. It's you special summon a rocket monster from your deck, but it cannot attack, also destroy it during the end phase. So because you're summoning a rocket, even if your opponent doesn't destroy it, it destroys itself during the end phase, and you just summon another one from the deck anyway. I'll knock my camera then. So next up on the list then is 3 copies of Boot Sector Launch. This is the field spell for the deck, and it is really, really helpful for your combo plays. The first part is all your rocket monsters gain 300 attack and defense. Not many people care about that one. It's a 2 effect. The first effect is you can special summon 2 rocket monsters with different names from your hand in defense mode. Really, really good for synchros, really, really good for link plays. But its second effect is if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can special summon rocket monsters with different names from your graveyard in defense position, up to the difference. So if you only control Boot Sector Launch and your opponent has spammed out a full board of 5 or 6 monsters, you're going to be able to bring back at least 5 if you have them in the graveyard. It says up to, so even if you only have 2 or 3 in the graveyard, you can still bring back 2 or 3 even if they've got a full board. So next up then, I run 2 copies of Squid Draw. This card is the one when I was on about earlier about the destruction effect with the Bolord Regenerator. What this card does is it's a quick play spell, and you can target 1 rocket to monster, you control, destroy it, and if you do, you draw 2 cards. You can only activate it once per turn. So with Squid Draw, it's really good because with your Bolord Regenerator, if you have a rocket on the field, you activate Squid Draw, You destroy him, you draw 2 cards, you draw another card for the bolord regenerator because the card's been destroyed. And then because a rocket monster was destroyed, you also get to special summon another rocket during your end phase. So next up then, I run 1 copy of super polymerization. I mainly use it for 2 fusion plays. A lot of people, when I show you the cards I have, won't know why I actually run him. But a friend of mine, he does run a Satella Knight deck, which is mainly warriors. That's why I have him in the extra deck just for now, because I'm mainly playing at locals at the moment. But Super Polymerization, as everyone knows, is a really good card. Next up is 1 copy of Monster Reborn. Everyone knows what Monster Reborn does. I'm not going to explain it. You special summon a monster from your graveyard or your opponent's grave if they can. I want 1 copy of Mystical Space Typhoon, just for spell and trap destruction. And 1 copy of Mind Control. Now with Mind Control, it's really, really good. You target an opponent's monster on the field, and until the end phase, you get to switch it to your side of the field, but it can't attack or activate its effect, or be tributed, sorry. What I mainly do with Mind Control is I take one of my opponent's monsters and link it. Or if it's an acquirement, I can also synchro summon it with it as well. So that's why I run Mind Control. Next up on the list then, I run, for the traps, 1 copy of Tactical Exchanger. You target a face-up monster you control, destroy it, and if you do, you special summon a rocket monster with a different targeted name from your deck or graveyard. You can only activate it once per turn. It's really, really handy card because, again, you destroy the rockets, so you get to special summon another one, and then during the end phase, you special summon again because of the rockets effect. But the only reason why I only run 1 copy of that is because of my next trap card, and that is 1 copy of Royal Decree. A lot of people say, well, why run Royal Decree? Again, because I'm a local sort of player. A YouTuber by the name of yugioh will know. One of our friends does run the Solemn Brigades. So if you can get Royal Decree set on your first turn without your opponent doing anything, you can actually stop a lot of cards these days with Royal Decree. A lot of people do still run trap cards there. So that's why I run 1 copy of Royal Decree. So that's it then for the main deck. For the extra deck, we'll start off with the Link 4s. Kicking things off is Bolord Dragon. He's one of the main links you really want to try and get on this because it can't be destroyed by battle. And once per turn, quick effect, so you can do it during either play turn. You can target attack position monster, change it into defense. Also, this card can make 2 attacks that turn. Not only that as well, but when it attacks, you can half an attack, if I'm not mistaken. When this card declares an attack on a face-up monster, you can activate this effect. Until the end of this turn, this card gains attack equal to half that monster's current attack, and if it does, that monster's current attack is halved. So it's a really, really good card for the deck. Next up then, the other Bolord Link 4 is Bolord Dragon. This card is neither player can target this card with monster effects. Once per turn quick effect, you can target 1 face-up monster on field, it loses 500 attack and defense. And your opponent cannot activate card or effects in response to this card's activation. At the start of the damage step, if this card attacks an opponent's monster, you can place that opponent's monster into a zone this card points to and take control of it, but send it to the graveyard during the end phase of the next turn. So it's basically a mind control for, if people don't know what Bolord does, many people do. Bolord, you get to take an opponent's monster, and then during the end turn of your opponent's turn, it goes to the graveyard. So next up on the list then for the other one is, of course, my Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess. If people didn't watch it, I actually pulled this from the new 2020 Mega Tin of Lost Memories Mega Tin, and I was really happy to get her, so she was going straight into this deck. A lot of people know what this card does, but it's another Link 4, and you can only control 1 Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess. The original attack of this card becomes 800 times the number of link materials used for this link summoning. Once per chain, when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can make this card lose 800 and negate the activation. It doesn't destroy. So with the rockets as well, because you can special summon a lot of times in it, Appaloosa can become quite powerful in this deck, not only for its effect of being able to negate an activation, but she can also become quite the beat stick. And the last one then for the Link 4s is Topologic Bomber Dragon. A lot of people don't like running this card. I really like this card. If another monster is special summon to a zone this link monster points to. While this monster is on the field, destroy all monsters in the main monster zones, so both yours and your opponent's. Also, your other monsters cannot attack for the rest of this turn. What that is if you can, with the rockets, as I said before with the Appaloosa, you special summon a lot. Bring out your topologic bomber dragon, special summon the card to the zone it points to, take out the main monster zones, and because you've destroyed your rockets, you get special summon during the end phase as well. If this card attacked an opponent's monster, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. So if you take, if I'm not mistaken with this, comment down below if I do get this wrong. I do apologise if I do. But with Topologic Bomber Dragon, if you attack an opponent's monster, so even if he's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard and you take battle damage, you also inflict damage to your opponent because it has attacked. It doesn't say it has to destroy, it's just simply an attack. So next up then for the Link 3, I simply run one copy of Triple Burst Dragon. I mainly use this to try and go into the bolord or bolord sword dragon. I don't really overly use him as an attack or his effect. He's alright. So next up then for the Link 2, starting off with Booster Dragon. So this card's a Link 2. Once per turn, you can target one other face-up monster on the field. It gains 500 attack and defense. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. So it's a little bit of a power boost for the monster. But its main effect that you want is if this Link Summon card is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target one other dragon monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So again, because the rockets like being in the graveyard for their effects of being destroyed and then resummon them themselves, Booster Dragon can bring back something like your Absolute Dragon or your Rocket Tracer if you need to synchro summon. So that's why I mainly use him. Next up then for the Link 1, starting off with Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres. It's simple 2 dragon monsters, so it can be used in quite a lot of dragon decks. But once per your opponent's turn, if this card is in your extra monster zone quick effect, you contribute one monster from your hand or field and return one face-up card on the field to the hand. Apologies there for coughing. If this card is tributed, you can special summon one dragon monster from your hand or deck, but make its attack points and defense 0. You can only use the effect of him once per turn. So what it does is if you've got a card that you need to return to stop your opponent making his combo plays or stop your opponent from attacking him, you simply tribute him off, return it to the hand, and because he was tributed, you get to special summon another dragon. So something like either a Rocket, an Absolute Dragon, or even like Red Eyes Darkness Dragon. I'm pretty sure he can be returned. I think it says you can special summon him from the hand. So with that, you can return him, and if your opponent doesn't do anything, then you can simply use his effect next turn. So the main Link 1 then for this deck is Striker Dragon. It just takes one level 4 or lower dragon monster, and if this card is Link summoned, you can add the Boot Sector Launch Field spell from your deck to your hand. So you can just add it, activate it, go into your combos. Then you can target one face-up monster you control and one rocket monster in your graveyard. Destroy that monster on the field, and if you do, add the other monster from your graveyard to your hand. So not only do you get to add a rocket back to the grave, from the grave to the hand, but you also get to destroy a rocket. So during the end phase, its effect will kick in, and it will simply special summon another one from the deck. So going on to the synchro, the main synchro for this deck is, of course, as everyone knows, the bolord. So you can imagine it is Bolord Savage Dragon. There's not much else to say about Bolord Savage. Pretty much every Yu-Gi-Oh player now knows about him. But if you don't, it's simple as it's a level 8. It can be splashed into many decks with links. And if this card is synchro summoned, you can attach a link monster to him as an equipped spell card. He gains half the attack of that monster equipped to him. So say if you did it with the bolord or the topologic, he gains half the attack, and he also gains counters equal to that monster's link rating. That's the part people like. Because when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can remove one bottle card from this and negate the activation. You can only use it once per turn. It doesn't destroy the card, but it does negate. And that's why many people do run Bolord Savage, because of the negate effect. You can do it 3 or 4 turns if you play your card right. Next up then, I run 1 copy of Draco, Berserker of the Tenny. A lot of people ask me why I run this. I said because of its effect of when your opponent monsters activate effect, quick effect, you can banish it. You just banish the card, and if they need it in the graveyard, you banish in probably one of the main combo plays. Not only that as well, but it does have it's a half decent effect of if this attacking card destroys an effect monster by battle and sends it to the grave, this card gains attack to the destroyed monster's original attack. Also, it can make a second attack on a monster during that battle phase. You can only use each effect of Draco, Berserker at the Tenny once per turn. So not only does he gain a really good power boost because he's on 3k, so you're probably going to take out something with 5 attack, so you're going to be gaining up to 5.5 attack. So he's really good for this deck. Also, he does banish cards. Next up on the list then is Stardust Dragon. A lot of people say, well, Stardust Dragon, he's okay, he's not that good these days. No, you're probably right, but Stardust Dragon is my favourite card. So that's why I actually use him. If you don't know what Stardust does, you contribute this card to negate the activation of a spell, trap, or affect monsters effect that would destroy a card on the field and destroy the card. If you negate an effect this way, you can special summon him during the end phase. At 2/5, I love Stardust Dragon. He is honestly my favourite card. So next up then for the last synchro, again a lot of people ask me why I ran this, it's Scrap Dragon. Once per turn you can target 1 card you control and 1 card your opponent controls, destroy them. So again, if you destroy another rocket, you have him in a rocket on the field, you destroy the rocket, its effect kicks in during the end phase. When this card is in your possession, is destroyed by your opponent's card and sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 non-synchro scrap monster in your graveyard special summon. I don't run scraps in this deck, so that effect doesn't. It's that first effect I use him for of being able to destroy 1 card I control and 1 card my opponent controls, because I can do it with rockets to special summon during the end phase. I only run 1 copy of an Xyz card, and that is of course the Bolord Excharge Dragon. What this card does is it takes 2 level 4 Dark Dragon monsters, which this deck is full of. Neither player can target this XYZ summoned card with monster effects, except its own. So once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, then target 1 face-up monster on the field. It loses 600 attack and defense. Then you can special summon 1 borrow monster from your graveyard, but banish it during the end phase. Also, you cannot special summon other monsters or attack directly for the rest of the turn. It's a bit of a problem. I know a lot of people say, well, you can't attack directly with him, but if your opponent has 2 monsters and they've got, say, 1,000 life points left, you can just run both him, and if you have something like Bolord Sword or bolord, just run them into it, and you're probably going to be doing enough damage to get game. And also that effect of special summon. So going on to the fusions then, the first one I run is Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. It's 2 dark monsters on the field. A lot of people run darks with stuff like the Dangers or Red Eyes, Dark Magician with the Red Eyes Dragoon now being out. It's really good. If this card is fusion summoned, you can make this card gain attack equal to 1 opponent's special monster on the field. So he gains a bit of an attack boost as well. The only reason I use him is for the Super Poly effect. And also, if this fusion summon card is destroyed, you can destroy all other monsters. All your opponent's special summon monsters, sorry. So it's basically a self-destruct. He gets popped, he pops him other cards as well. So the only reason I use him is for Super Poly at 2800 and at an attack boost. So my last card for my extra deck then, as I said earlier, is one of my friends that I duel against, runs Warriors. And I've wanted this card for quite a while, and I happened to pick it up in a local game shop, not in my town, but somewhere else. I went with a few of my friends, and that is Draco Knight Draco Equestrian. One of Usag's only fusion cards you ever saw in the 5Ds era, but at 3200 Super Poly target against him, it does really well. Because if this monster can only be special summoned by fusion summoned from the extra deck, so the Super Poly does really help with this, with the warrior typing as well. Once per turn, you can select 1 dragon type synchron monster from your graveyard, remove it from play. This card's name becomes that monster's name, and if you do, the effect of that monster becomes this card's until the end phase. When this face up attack position monster, while this is face up in attack, sorry, any effect damage you would... Sorry, just let me read it. I haven't really read it. You take from the opponent's card that is inflicted to your opponent instead. So any effect damage your opponent tries doing to you, it does it to them as well. But not only that as well, but I do use it with the Scrap Dragon. Because what I do is banish Scrap Dragon, Dragon Knight Draco Equestria, sorry. Gains Scrap Dragon's effect of once per turn you can target one card you control and one card your opponent controls and pop it. So that's why I like running this card, because many people ask me why I run him. I love the artwork, I love the 5Ds era. At 3200 he's quite a big beater, but that's why I run him. So without further ado then, that is my Rokket deck profile for today. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you do, please leave this video a thumbs up, not a thumbs down. We like thumbs ups here. Comment if you like this one, and as always, please subscribe to my channel. I am really trying to make it as a YouTuber. I love Yu-Gi-Oh! To bits. And I will see you all in the next video I decide to do. And until then, stay safe and take care. Goodbye.